the hook through here and come out on one of these seams on either side of the worm so that the tail will stand up as you pull it through the water and swim. Okay, you catch about 1/8 of an inch of the head of that worm, or 3/16 of an inch, and you slide the worm up on the hook. Then you turn the worm around and turn the hook around. Okay, now the point where the bottom of the hook is touching the worm is where you need to insert the point. So you just back up, pull the hook down just a little, and insert the worm at that point, still right through the seam, and make it come out toward the seam. Now most fishermen, worm fishermen, will stop right there. They just bury the point of the hook in the worm and they leave it alone. Well, you'll miss a lot of fish doing that. So what I do, I pull the point of that hook through the worm. And I shove it back in there, I push it out again, I pull it back in there, and I push it out again, and I pull it back in there. Now what I've done, I've walled out a real good hole in the worm there. So when I get a strike and I set the hook, pow, that thing will jump right out there and get it. Then you pull the worm back inside. Now it's weedless. You know, you can pull that thing through the weeds or whatever, but you want to stop with a hook point right on the edge of the worm, right there. I can feel it with my fingertip. But still, it's weedless when you're pulling it through the weeds and it don't hang up. Now, I've mentioned in the hook size, the reason that it's important to use, to match the worm's hook size, of course, we don't always catch big fish. So the most important part that a hook serves is the amount of bite that the hook has in the fish's mouth. A fish closes his mouth on the worm and you set the hook point has got to jump out and grab the fish. Well, a lot of times when that happens, he'll pull the worm down on the hook, like this. Well, when the worm gets wadded up on the bottom of the hook, there's not a lot of bite left if you've got a real big diameter worm. So what you've got to do, if there's no bite left, you've got to go to a bigger hook, a larger hook. So when the worm wads up on the bottom of the hook, you still got plenty of bite right here, enough to catch the fish and hook him. So that's as much bite as you need, just like I have right here on this worm. When that worm's piled up and wadded on the bottom of the hook, I've still got enough bite there to catch on the inside of his mouth and hook him. So that's basically it for right now. Let's see if we can catch one. There's a few other little things, I guess, that we can talk about as we go along. Get the old tackle boxes and things put back where they ought to be. I like to leave my worms sitting out where I can get to them when I need them, and my knife so I can keep the line cut, and my hook so I can keep the hook sharpness so I can keep the hook sharp. You want to fish a worm, one attribute a worm has is it's virtually weedless. It's just not going to hang up. So you can fish that thing in pretty thick cover. Now, bass like cover. It just so happens today the fish are pretty active and they're not real tied in the edge of the bed. They're just moving out loosely along the edge of the vegetation. Now, if we were fishing on a cold front or something, or weather change of some kind, it could put them real tight. They just move real into that old thick reeds and things. You'd need to put your bait right in there to catch it. So that's what a plastic worm, that's its strong suit. You can really fish that thing in thick cover. But today they're kind of along the edges and out off of the edge where it starts to drop off. So we're going to be casting along the edge and working it out. Come up there. Whoa, buddy. Flung my worm off, didn't I? Okay. Now. Okay. Okay, there you go, pop. We're holding just loosely along that edge of vegetation. Now, you got to remember the water on this edge of the vegetation is about 2 or 3 and can be 5 or 6 feet deep. So what I like to do when I'm fishing the edge, I like to cast right to the edge and leave the bell open and let the bait fall straight down. At the same time, now watch your line, because as the worm falls, you can get a strike. So you watch your line for any kind of movement, little jump, a little jerk, or whatever. If you see that, just put the thing in gear, don't check it. Just put it in gear, reel down 2 or 3 turns, and set the hook. Anyway, you let the worm go down right beside the vegetation. If you leave the thing in gear and keep your line tight, It'll fall away from the vegetation. The deeper it goes, it'll just fall on an arc. And it could, by the time it gets to the bottom of 6 feet of water, it could be 4 or 5 feet off of the edge of the weeds. So leave it open, let it go down. Pick your bait up and move it. Now, you want to get the line. Actually, I don't ever like to get the line tight when I'm worm fishing. I like to start with my rod, and as I pick the worm up, I want the slack to come out of the line at about 10 o'clock. Then I want to work the worm with my rod tip. You don't ever work a worm by winding the line with your reel. You work it with your rod tip. You work it back to 12 o'clock. All right, when you reach 12 o'clock, you work it slow enough that the worm is still maintaining contact with the bottom. You let your rod, you let your rod tip back down to about 10 o'clock, taking up the slack. Then you start over again, and you work the worm up to the rod tip at 12 o'clock. The only thing you use the reel for is to hold the line, just to store the line, and to crank the fish in when you get him in. Don't work the worm by using your reel hanger and winding. So we'll make another cast. I let the worm go to the bottom, put it in gear when it gets there, reel down, start at about 10 o'clock, work my rod tip at 12 o'clock. Real slow. Now, you'll notice I jerk the worm and hop it along a little bit. That's okay, and at times it works, but there's other times, I guess 90% of the time, just moving it as slow as you can move it without jumping or hopping or anything would work the best for you. Oh, man. That's all the time, really, you need to take to set the hook. Boy, he's a wild one, isn't he? Oh. Come on. Now, you know, when I feel out there and I work the worm back, 3 or 4 pumps, and the fish hit it. Just the minute he hit it, I crank down the reel handle 2 times and I set the hook. And I told you earlier in the show we were going to do a little bit on flipping also. Now, I said that we should have a good day, and we really should. But now, you know, that doesn't mean we've caught a lot of smaller fish, which indicates to me at least that maybe the better fish haven't gotten over the cold front we had through here 2 days ago. Now, we've had pretty weather for 2 days. We're here at the end of December. But prior to this 2 days of pretty weather, they had a cold front come through. So maybe the big fish still aren't reacting to the warmer weather we've had the last 2 days. So let's move tighter in on the cattails, on the cover that we have. And let's use a technique called flipping and see if that doesn't produce larger fish. Get rid of this rod. And we're going to use a rod called a flipping stick. Now, a flipping stick, or this particular flipping stick, of course, is in the Quantum series of rods, and it's a telescoping rod. So, as you can see, it's only like 6 feet long until you extend it, and it extends to a little over 7 feet long, 7 foot and 6 inches long. And also, you'll notice that flipping sticks or flipping rods are very strong. I mean, you can really apply a lot of pressure on a fish and pull him out of heavy cover easier than you can with conventional casting rods due to its sturdiness. And, of course, you notice that I have a little larger reel. I'm using a reel that has a wide spool, the 420 series reel, and I'm using 25-pound test line. And we're going to be rigging it with a plastic worm. Now, there's a couple of different baits that I like to use flipping. I like to use a jigging pig, which you've seen me use on many other occasions, casting and also flipping. And I like to use a plastic worm Texas rig. But now, the difference in using a plastic worm Texas rig when you're fishing in heavy cover is that you should peg the sinker. Now, I've already rigged the thing up tight, a Sproat hook on. I'm using a 3/0 Sproat hook, and I'm using a heavier sinker than I would casting. I'm using a sinker that's 3/8 of an ounce, and that's, normally I like to start with a sinker size at a 1/4 ounce and going up sometimes to a full 1 ounce. That's important. I'm using a 3/8 today, which is a little on the light side, but I'm going to be flipping in cattails, which means I can drop the sinker down beside the stalks of the cattails, and I don't have to drive the bait and the sinker through a mat of heavy cover. We don't have the mat-type vegetation here. We have cattails. So we don't have to drive through that mat of vegetation, so I can use a little lighter sinker. So I'm using a 3/8 ounce sinker. Now, we need to peg that sinker like I mentioned a minute ago. Now, to peg the sinker, you just take a standard toothpick, a round toothpick, let the sinker go all the way against the eye of the hook, and then you take the sinker and insert in the hole on the upper side of the sinker, and point it in, and jam it down in there very good, and then just break this toothpick off, just like that, and it breaks off just flush with the top of the sinker. Now, what you've got, as you can see, the sinker doesn't freely move up and down the line. So when you drop it down in heavy cover, the worm don't go to one side and your sinker to the other side. In other words, you can control the bait. When your sinker goes up and down, your bait's with it. And you can drop it up and down right beside the cover you want to drop it up and down beside. So it's very important to peg that slip sinker. All right, now, the bait. Now, a little different. I like to use a bait a little different from the standard bait you would cast with. I like to use, in flipping now, you got to remember, you're dealing with the possibility of catching larger fish because you're fishing in heavier cover. Now, in larger fish, many times like larger baits. Now, in cold water, say maybe up north, I'd prefer to use a jigging pig, which is a smaller bait. Down in Florida, where you have warmer water, it seems as though the worm works better. So what I've got a worm that's actually designed by Fliptail for fishing on top of the water. It has a flat side. But as you can see, it is really a big, ugly worm. And I like ugly worms when I'm fishing for big old bass. So you take the worm and insert it Texas rig, just like we talked about earlier. And we're going to move along and drop this worm down in the little pockets and things and beside the stalks of cattails. And let's see if that don't work to catch a few more fish. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can use your flipping stick to make a flip and fish heavy cover. The most practiced way, I guess you would say, is just drop a length of line off, like I have. My bait's down about the length of my rod. Now, if you can reach, you can just take that thing and drop it in like that if your bait gets to the bottom. But many times, you'll want to drop it further back in the reeds, that, you know, in a place where you can't necessarily reach with a length of a determined amount of line stuck out there. There you go. Hey, well, right in that heavy cover. I tell you what, I numbed him for just a second. He didn't know what was happening. Whoa, boy. Not a very big fish, but a little bigger than we were catching before. I think you'll find, as a general rule, flipping will catch larger fish than just your conventional tackle. It's a good one. Come out of there. Oh, well, not as big as I thought. I guess when I set the hook, he was just wrapped around some reeds. Come over here, big boy. There, 25-pound test line. That's about a 6-pound fish, 7 pounds. 25-pound test line, you don't, once you get them out in open water, let's see, 8 or 9 pounds, you pretty much got him, so don't get in too big a hurry to land him. Play him around till you can get your hand on him. Okay. Take off that pile. All right. I tell you, we've lost just about all the light that we're going to have today. We discussed an awful lot today. You know, I hope it's not too much to absorb, but what little bit we've told you, we hope it'll make you catch more fish, because that's what it's all about. We all want to catch more and bigger fish. See you next week.
Past champion and all-time leading money winner Roland Martin is going for trophy-sized largemouth bass on a small farm pond in South Florida. It's early springtime and the bass are hitting top water for some of the most exciting fishing action you'll ever see.
Well, I've cleared a little trail through here, folks, trying to get my boat launched in the water with this four-wheel drive vehicle. I can pretty much launch a little boat like this little bass tracker most anywhere. I've cut a little area of this low section of the marsh, and of course I have four-wheel drive, low range with these big mud grip tires on this Suburban, and it enables me to get into these back, out-of-the-way places. Okay. Now today's fishing is a typical farm pond, really farm ponds from Ohio, Connecticut, California, Florida. We're actually in Florida, near my home in Clewiston, but it's so typical of farm ponds and small waters as well. We're going to fish for primarily topwater fishing. It's the spawning season, and the fish ought to be real active. It's clear water, and we're going to fish topwater. So let's get after it. Okay. You know, many of these little small farm ponds like this, you really don't need a main motor like I have today, but I'm going to ease out a few feet and then drop my trolling motor because I really don't have to go anywhere. The fishing is good. It's only a 5-acre pond. It's a little bit windy right here, so I'm going to take my trolling motor and ease around to that calm water. Because really one of the prerequisites for good topwater fishing, particularly good Rapala fishing, is calm water. So let's see if we can't find some calm water and some big bass. Now, right over on that shoreline right there, there's some good calm water. I think I'll be able to ease over there. And I'm going to kind of sit down low because I think in this clear water, a low silhouette might be an advantage. And just throw up close to the bank, particularly where you have shady overhangs, like these trees, and slowly twitch that Rapala along. Now, the importance of fishing Rapala properly is that first 3 feet. You don't have the fish really interested in that first little bit, you're not going to probably get a strike. Now, there's some shady little pockets here, so I want to throw into the shade. Drop it into the shade. Let it sit until all the ripples die away. And then twitch it just slightly. And it's clear enough where I can probably see the fish coming after the plug. Oh, no strike. There's some mallard ducks. Is that a bed right there? I see a small bass. I'm going to ease to these points and fish on these points. Oh, there's one. There's one. Hey, there we go. Okay. Little bass, there wasn't much to it. But he's a cutie. Tell you, when you're fishing light tackle, these little 1.5 pound bass are sure nice. There's nothing wrong with him at all. Okay. Little old 12, 13-inch fish. There's bigger fish in the pond. As clear as the water is, a lot of times you can spot these fish. I spotted a light spot on the bottom. It could have well been a spawning bed. I'll release him. There we go. Now, I've done a couple modifications to this plug. The main modification is extremely sharp hooks. I've taken a lot of time and effort to sharpen these hooks properly. And the other modification that's important for today's fishing is that little snap on the front. That snap allows that plug to actually cast a little farther, but it gives it a better action. That snap is a very important part of the action of this lure. I see a big bass. I see a big bass. There's a big bass up there. Okay, now here he comes. Golly day. He's right underneath it now. Big bass. Come on, bass. Hit that thing. He got too close for us. I'm going to let him swim away, and when he swims away, I'm going to throw again. Okay, now he's cruising off to the right. Okay, now he's going out into the deeper water, and I'm going to... Okay, now he's far enough away. I'm going to throw a short cast right over to him. He's coming up behind it. And twitch it. Okay, he's right up on it. There, he got it. He's got it. Okay, there he got it. He's got it now. Boy, that's a nice one. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. Oh, boy, I tell you what, that's a big fish. That's a big fish. He's a big one now. Boy, I guarantee you what. Son, get up here. Boy, he's a nice one. Boy, I tell you what, he's a good fish. Come on, boy. I love it. Boy, the size of him. Look at the size of that bass. He is a big old bass. I'm telling you what, boys, to watch him hit that thing and come up on the surface like that is unbelievable. Boy, he's a good fish. He's fighting good. I'll tell you what, folks. Visual action of watching those fish strike these topwater plugs is just unbelievable. Oh, he's a nice one. He's bigger than I thought. He's about 7 pounds. He's really a nice one. Boy, he's a nice fish. Oh. Look at the size of him. He's about 8 pounds. He's a monster. Boy, I tell you what, that's really a great fish. You know, for today's fishing, we're in a community area. There's a road real close by, and there's some houses here. It's a well-fished area, but we're fishing it at the time of year when the fish are the most vulnerable. It's springtime, and the fish are up to spawn. We're not really seeing them on beds. We're just seeing them cruise around. But that is really a trophy fish, about 8 pounds. I'm going to let him go right here. Go back to spawn, raise some more little ones. Okay, the key for that fish was spotting that fish and making a good presentation to him. And now he came up the first time, he came up underneath the plug and looked at it. We got a little bit too close to the boat, and he saw the boat. But then I didn't move. I was real quiet and still, and I let him swim away, far enough away where he forgot that we were a threat to him. And then I made another long cast, good presentation. Consequently, he took it. So that is the key for today's fishing. Let me get down in a low silhouette, start down this bank and look for some more big bass. Now, the shade of these bushes are sometimes an excellent place to cast your lure. Work it real slow and easy. Normally with this type of fishing, I don't try to cast every couple feet on the shoreline, but rather like every 20 or 30 feet, because if you throw the cast too close together, you'll scare the fish on the next cast. So you want to keep casting way up the shoreline. This type of fishing is so relaxing. I just love it. Being out here by myself and just watching the clear waters and watching the fish. Here's a little bluegill coming up my plug now. Awfully small. I can't overstress the Polaroid sunglasses, folks. That's a necessity in clear water. Wait a minute, I see one. There's a fish cruising over in that shallow water right there. Drop it right there. Coming to it. He's about on it. He got it. He's got it now. I got him. Boy, I tell you what, that's a good one. Hey, okay. Oh, boy, that's a good one. 4-pound fish at least. I love it. I tell you, that visual action of watching those fish come up is worth the trip. Oh. Hey, wow. Yeah, that's a nice one. It's a 3 or 4 pounder. Okay. Oh, nothing wrong with him. Nice little bass. Well, I'll tell you what. You know, I want to show you how just sharp these hooks are, and how important it is to have sharp hooks. I'm going to let this one go. Ease up here, and I think you'll be all right. There we go. He's in good shape. That's good. Now, a very important part of today's fishing is having really good sharp hooks. Let me just show the camera how I sharpen a hook. Now, there's a real trick to it. It really works out well for really, really good topwater fishing. First of all, I straighten these hooks out. Okay, now, I'll take the hook hone and lay it by the side of both of those trebles, like that. Now, I just go back and forth at that angle real hard until I really cut into the hook good. Now, I turn the hook one turn, and again lay the hook hone against the 2 hooks simultaneously. Sharpen real hard, and then taper off and don't sharpen quite so hard again. Lay it flat. Now turn it one more time, the 3rd time, turn it like that, and lay the hook hone against it flat again, back and forth, hard, hard, hard at first, and then slack off, and that finally sharpens it up so that it's incredibly sharp. Boy, so sharp. It's just really, really sharp. And that's what I've done on today's fishing. Had sharp hooks, and so I'm just going to check them. They're all pretty sharp. They're all really needle sharp. Okay, they're all good. Ready for another one. And another thing, I'll test that line. That's 8-pound test line, so I want to make sure that there's no frays on the line. I'll even pull on it, check it. I tie a Palomar knot, and again, I use a clip. The clip allows the plug to have more action and also allows it to cast farther and actually makes it float better. I'm coupling that up with about a 6-foot heavy-duty fighting rod, which is my choice for Rapala fishing. Now, when you pick a rod to fish Rapalas, some rods won't cast it well. What you want the Rapala to do is to go in a straight line like a torpedo. Now, watch this cast. It won't flip through the air. It'll go in a straight line like a torpedo. It doesn't turn and twist around. If you have a rod that accelerates it at the wrong speed, the lure will tumble through the air and it'll catch in the wind and it won't be an accurate cast. The only way you can get a good accurate cast out of a small light lure like this is to have it go like a torpedo, straight in line. Look around for a second. Boy, it's a good looking spot here. This pond is actually an old gravel pit. And it's connected by, it's a labyrinth of little channels and canals, and this is a little cut through to another separate pond. Let it sit there a second. Uh-oh. Oh, boy, he's got it now. There, he's got one. I got one. Hey, son, I mean, that's a good one. Oh, I mean, a trophy. Son, you talking about a big one. You're talking about a big fish. Let me adjust my drag a little bit. He is a nice one. Woo! Let me get the trolling motor up. Oh, boy, you're talking about a giant. I'm talking about a big fish. Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, these shallow water ponds have the big fish in them. Just fantastic, just fantastic. Come on. Oh, I'll tell you what, that's a big old bass, about 7 or 8 pounds. Just really a trophy fish. That is really something else. Tell you what, folks, this is what it's all about. Big bass like this one here. It's just a huge fish. About 7 or 8 pounds. Get up there and band this thing. Boy, you talking about a nice one. Ooh. I don't know if I can get him alive. I don't want to get hooked. Now, that's the problem with these fish. Come on. You gonna jump again? Okay. Uh-oh, he's around the rope. Oh, boy, that's a big one. He's around this rope now. Good heavens, what a fish. What a big, big bass. Wow. Folks, that's what it's all about. I'm talking about a giant, giant, giant bass. Well, I tell you what, this topwater Rapala is paying off today. I mean, I'm going to let this one go. He's a beauty. He'll swim away to be caught again another day. And, you know, you got to be careful. Without a net, without a landing net, when you're landing these really big fish like this, they can jump and hook your hand. Boy, what a problem that could be. Have a big old Rapala in one hand and an 8-pound bass in the other, trying to get loose of that is a bad situation. So I'm about out of breath out of that one. I'm going to keep casting right up this bank here. Just a perfect, perfect place. Okay, let's ease up the shoreline. Look for another one. Boy, what a nice day. Air temperature about 75 degrees, water temperature about 65 degrees. Just a perfect day for bass fishing. Now, this particular type of swimming minnow comes in about 6 or 7 different sizes. This one is the 4.5-inch model, or what they call the number 11 centimeters. It's the number 11, and it's 11 centimeters long, or 4.5 inches long. And that one's a gold minnow, because the gold simulates the golden shiner, which is often the favored game fish of these particular Florida bass. It has a black back, a little bit of a red front. 3 good sharp treble hooks, and that is what it takes for catching these big bass. You know, on this little 4.5-inch plug, I've caught bass over 10 pounds on several occasions, particularly this time of year when they're either pre-spawn or spawning conditions. Really, after you retrieve this plug about 3 feet and you don't have a strike, you might as well just reel it on in. Let it sit, let all the ripples die away. Just a little bit. I'm taking up slack as I go because the boat's moving, but I'm only moving the lure about an inch or so. Boy, he's got it now. Come on, boy. Okay, come on. That's a nice little bass. It's not as big as some of the others, but he's a nice one. I mean, tell you, that's a nice one. I love it. Oh, there. Yeah, he's a good one. I love it. Okay, come on, bass. Okay. Nice little bass. Boy, you gotta watch out for this light line now. That light line, really, you have to keep that drag adjusted. Now, keep working with the drag on the rear end of the reel. Boy, he's a nice one. He's a big fish. I can't do much with him. I just have to follow him along. He's about 5 or 6 pounds, and the line's light. I'm just gonna ease him up along here. Try to land him here in a second. Oh, that's a good fish. Good fish. Okay, boys. Let's see. Be careful that he doesn't hook you. My heavens, that's a trophy and a half. That's a good one. Nothing wrong with him. Nothing wrong with him at all. Should have a pair of pliers with me. Really difficult unhooking these fish. Boy, he's a pretty one, though. At least 5 pounds. Just a nice, nice bass. I'm going to let him go. There, he's in perfect shape. Okay. That was quite an exciting thing. This little pond's full of them. And the reason for this little pond being full of fish, of course, is that we've caught and released these fish time and time again, keeping a good population at hand. Oh, boy, look at that one. Look at that big bass. Oh, my heavens, look at the size of him. He must be 8 or 9 pounds. Okay. Oh, that's the little one. That's the little one. That's not the great big one. There's a great big monster over there. It's about 10 pounds. This is just a little one here. This is just a little one. This isn't half the size of the other one. This isn't half the size of the other one. As soon as I get this one out, I'm going to go for the big one. The big one is just really a monster. The big one is really big. This one here is nothing. This is a little 5-pounder. The other one is twice as big. And folks, I'm going to turn the boat and go over the big one. Because this is a 5-pounder, but there's a monster bass over there that came up, and I see him right now. Don't anybody move. We're going to get him and drop this one back. Okay, now, folks, now this is the big one of the day. Here's the big fish of the day, folks. If he hits. Big fish of the day. Now, watch it. Here he comes. He's underneath it. He's got it. Big bass, big bass. I mean a big bass. I got a monster, son. I mean a really big one for 6-pound line. I got the big one here. I got the big one. I mean, we got the big one now. Son, we got the big one. Oh, I mean a really trophy. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about, folks. That first one was right underneath him, and he came out at first, but this big one was right there. With this clear water and these Polaroid sunglasses, you could see him the whole time. Just so exciting. It was just the most exciting thing this whole year to see this big bass laying there in the water. Oh, talking about a giant. Son, what are we talking about? Ooh, I love it when you get that visual contact of these big bass coming up and grabbing these little small repolers. It's just unbelievable. I'm telling you, it's the finest time of the year when you can get them on topwater like this. Great big trophy fish, nearly 10 pounds, and we could see them come up and take that lure. It's just unbelievable. Let me turn around this way and release them, because that is what it's all about, folks. I'm going to let them go. Okay, boys. Go ahead and swim away. You'll be all right. Folks, that is really something. Again, I have to stress the fact that in this clear water, you have to keep a low silhouette. You have to make a good accurate cast. And I saw that big fish to start with, but when I threw my lure in there, now the smaller 5-pounder got it. And then on the next subsequent cast, this great big bass got it too. That was really the most exciting part of the day. So folks, if you want to try some really fine topwater action, try about April or May or June when the water temperatures stay about 65 degrees.
I'm Ray Scott for the Bassmasters. We're at Sam Rayburn Reservoir in Texas, and the fourth stop on the road to the 1986 Bassmasters Classic. Every one of these invitational tournaments is a true test of the best. And from what we're hearing, this tournament is going to be a graduate course in catching bass and toughing the weather. The forecast is for strong winds and cold temperatures. But one of these 280 anglers will find the bass and a way to catch them. And the winner will go home $30,000 richer. So stay tuned for the Texas Invitational. The Bassmasters will be right back.
Sam Rayburn Reservoir, 114,000 sprawling surface acres of bass-filled waters that can be the best a basser has ever thrown a bait into. Or a lake that can bring the best bass and pros in the business right down to their knees. The 3-day practice period is a preview of at least a few things to come. High south winds whip the lake into a froth. But on the last practice day, the weather calms down and the angler's spirits soar in anticipation of the tournament.
It's my belief these fish right now are on a full spawn. They're bedding like you can't believe. But they're real temperamental. There's been a couple tournaments prior to this, a lot of fishing pressure on the lake. Fish are real skittish, so you got to back off these flooded willow trees. The fish are in anywhere from 2 to 3 foot of water in these willow trees. They're building their beds right in the center of the rootage of the willow trees. And what you're having to do is get back off these trees, throw up into the middle of them with a real light weight, just let the bait sink down on the bed and leave it. And after the fish looks at it for a few seconds, you'll just feel a tick, and he's got it. But you can't set the hook right away. You've got to give them just a second to get the bait fully in their mouth and start to move off the bed. Watch your line real close. At the first sign of movement, you got to hit them hard because you got to get them out of that tree, away from it, into the boat. It's very rare you'll see somebody casting into a tree using, much more than 14, 16, 17-pound test line. I'm using 25 just to get them out. Once you get them out, you got it made. It's no problem. But I've caught quite a few big fish doing this. I might be in the wrong arm of the lake. I know some boys that are doing the same thing that are catching some real big fish. I know 2 fish over 8 pounds that have been caught already in practice. It's just a matter of getting it in there, leaving it, and letting the fish get it. I think that's how she'll be won.
It's late March, trophy bass time, a week in front of the full moon. And the $130,000 Bassmaster Texas Invitational expects to produce heavy stringers of big, pre-spawn and spawning bass. But as this last day of winter and the first day of the 3-day event opens to stormy skies and a major weather front, things change drastically from what has been predicted. Old Man Winter seeing to it that all here would remember him well. Let's go with a last northerly blast that shakes even the most experienced anglers and boaters. Ocean-sized waves and towering swells stand tall, mean, wet, and cold as the fishermen and their bassin machines fight their way across the huge lake to places where they hope the bass will bite. Others, electing to stay close on fish they found during practice, seem to be faring well.
Most of the fish seem to be lying right off of the first drop-off, off these slow-falling banks where you have button bushes. And we're picking them up on worms, floating them right over that short grass, right along the old weed line. This lake is up And actually what we're doing, we're fishing the little ledge that's created on winter pool level. And that happens in about 8 or 9 feet of water. And the fish just seem to be laying in that grass right on the bottom. I guess we had a little front come in here last night and this morning, and the temperatures dropped off pretty good. And I think it just pulled the fish off of the flats out to the first drop off of the edge. And it's supposed to get down to 35 degrees tonight. And I don't know what that's going to do to them. I don't know whether we'll be able to catch them on this, have to change up tomorrow, or, I don't know what we'll have to do. Practice, we were catching them real shallow up in the button bushes, but this morning they've moved off. So hopefully we can continue to stay with them.
Orlando Wilson located these fish in practice. Prior to the tournament start, they averaged 2 pounds each. With a 7 fish per day tournament limit, that would be 42 pounds if he can manage a limit each day. It certainly would be enough to put him high in the standings. But the Georgia Bassmasters 2-pounders have shrunk. Whether Orlando's small bass will bend the scales enough to put him in contention will be decided soon.
Denny Breyer's going to jump up in the top 10, 5 or 2, maybe to 1. What's the top weight? 19 something. He's going to beat 19 something. 21-11. Denny, I believe you just moved into the lead. Didn't you win a bass tournament here one time?
Yeah, I sure did, Harold.
2 years ago. Is this the same fish that you caught 2 years ago?
Yeah, they swim back to the same old tree.
Caught him in the same place?
No, not really. Patterns have changed a little bit this year. We're here a little bit later, and we're having to do a few different things to catch our fish this time.
It looks like you're doing the right thing, Denny. Congratulations. Hang in there.
First day leaders cannot always go back and make a repeat showing. Denny Brower knows that. But as an experienced professional, he knows what he must do.
Basically, the fish are doing a lot of different things. Right now, they can be caught several different ways. 2 years ago, when I won this tournament, I won it on a jig, shallow, and the water was a lot colder. Now, the water is probably 10 degrees on average warmer than it has been the last few years. We're here a couple of weeks later, and it does make a difference on the different patterns we have to use to catch the fish. A lot more fish are scattered. They're not bunched up like they have been, so it's forcing the fishermen to cover a lot more water and do a lot of different things. We've got a lot of fronts going through. We've got the high wind right now. That's affecting, boat control, everything else. I think if the weather straightens out, the fishing ought to be better, but then again, the cold front's liable to slow them down quite a bit. So we'll just have to wait and see. I hope I can do what I did today 2 more days.
Stay tuned as the weather and the fishing takes a surprise turn. The Bassmasters will be right back. Texas Invitational, the 4th in 6 qualifying tournaments on the road to the Bassmasters Classic. It's supposed to be cold but calm. And even though today is officially spring, the north winds once again howl as the Bassmasters fight their way to the fishing areas. Many here, like pro angler and television personality Jimmy Houston of Oklahoma, are fishing up lake. The area he's in predictably holds bass. But there's another reason anglers like Houston have come north. Water temperature. Because south winds blow warm toward the north and north winds blow cold toward the south, the northern areas of an impoundment warm first. These warmer water temperatures mean the bass in the northern areas of the lake will start doing their spring thing earlier than their cousins on the south end of the lake, getting more aggressive sooner than those bass in colder water. But even though this may be the chosen place, man and machine pay the price for making the long and rough ride.
They took a nosedive in one of those waves and took that windshield right off. I really feel sorry for some of those guys in those shorter boats. This 390 takes it pretty good, but some of them guys in those 16-foot boats, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Could be some boats swamped today.
The rough water has kept many anglers from their best areas, making it difficult for them to get where they want to fish, and impossible to fish effectively if they can get there at all. And yet other factors are making the fishing and the catching even tougher. Falling water temperatures and a high barometer as a result of the cold front. The single worst set of conditions in bass angling includes muddy water, cold or falling water temperatures, a bright sky, north winds, and a rising barometer. About the only thing these Bassmasters aren't experiencing is muddy water. The conditions are tough.
Now, folks, Jimmy Houston coming aboard. Jimmy is solidly in third place with over 15 pounds of weight. Today weighs in a full limit of 7 bass, and the weight 10 pounds 3 ounces. Jimmy Houston. Now, Jimmy, I want to congratulate you. That's going to keep you up. I'll have a tally. I'll have a tally in a moment. What was the weather like out there this morning? I know you went to some big water.
Well, it's awful rough out there. I'm fishing down at the other end of the lake, and it's kind of rough getting there. But my problem is really not getting there. I've got a big 390 Ranger. It's not mine. It's my wife's, but she's letting me use it. But I'll probably tear that thing up for her here. But anyway, you can get there okay, but my best spot where I caught my bigger fish yesterday, I had a couple of 3s and a 4. I just can't fish it. The waves are real high out there, and all I can do is just sit there and look at it. It's out there, away from where I'm fishing. All I can do is get on the bank and catch those little bank runners and little bitty Kentuckies, and they're not very big. I did have one look like about 4.5 pounds, so you see the other fish didn't weigh but about a pound apiece. But I couldn't fish it. I've gone out there and tried a couple times, but it's too rough. Why don't you make the wind quit blowing?
Well, we'll have a meeting about that tonight. Thanks, Jimmy Houston. Let's give a nice hand, folks. One more day. What do you feel like this fishing is going to do generally for all of these fellas, including yourself, with one more day to go?
Well, I'm afraid I can't be real optimistic. We're getting on the back side of the front, and that's usually the worst time. And even though we're cussing the wind right now, if that wind dies, it's probably going to get a little tougher, especially if it gets cold at night. We got a little too much wind. I wouldn't mind the wind staying up there a little bit, but it makes it rough to move around.
Yeah. We appreciate it. One more day. Good luck to you. See you tomorrow.
Denny Brower, the first day's leader, comes to the scales.
All right, he's coming up right now. Denny Brower, the leader through the first day. Give a nice welcome. He's under pressure strain now, folks. He has some top fishermen right on his heels. Has 5 bass today, and watch the scales. 13 pounds, 6 ounces for Denny Brower. Denny, congratulations. Now, you're still holding the lead at the moment, but the pressure's moving in. What kind of day did you have?
Well, yesterday I had an exceptional day. I think I had 12 fish on and got 11 of them in the boat. Today I had 9 fish on and got 5 of them in the boat.
What happened?
I don't really know. It's just one of them things that happens in the game of fishing. You're only going to get a certain percentage in the boat, and today was one of them days the percentages didn't really go my way. I had one fish just right out in open water, probably 5-6 pounds. Had her up and coming, and she just come off. So, that happens to everybody. That's part of it.
You just dropped the worm completely? Just dropped the worm?
I dropped the crankbait range.
I see. Okay. I'm trying to trick him into telling me what he's using, but you can't fool him. They don't tell anybody. Go ahead.
Well, there's too many good fishermen out here to be telling too much.
Well, tell a lie if you tell anything.
Well, we can all tell them lies, but it'll all come out tomorrow.
All right, well, tomorrow's the day. Best of luck to you, Denny, and we'll see you tomorrow, and good luck.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, folks. Nice hand for Denny Brower, folks.
Stay tuned for Day 3 and the conclusion of the Texas Invitational. The Bassmasters will be right back, and it finally dies. But the water temperature stays cool and the barometer high. The first day, these Bassmasters caught 868 legal-sized 12-inch bass and weighed in 34 7-fish limits. Yesterday, the second day, the catch dropped to 658 bass and only 10 limits. But what about today? Denny Brower, the 37-year-old Camdenton, Missouri pro, leads North Carolina's Guy Aker by only 5 pounds, 14 ounces. When the situation is such that the bass are not biting well, a single 6-pound bass, of which there are many here, can change the standings in a hurry. And Brower knows well this can be the case. He's fishing far upriver off a channel, flipping jigs in the heavy cover. The method of angling he's using is productive nearly year-round, but especially under conditions like these when the bass are not aggressive and must be coaxed into biting. Denny Brower is considered a future superstar in professional bass angling. He started as a B.A.S.S. Federation angler in Nebraska in 1978. Later, he moved to the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri, where he started guiding and fishing tournaments. He's qualified for 4 straight Bassmasters Classics since making a full-time bid on the Bass Anglers Sportsman Society Tournament Trail in 1982. He won this Texas Invitational in 1984 and won the 1985 Chattanooga Invitational. Coming into this tournament, he's placed in the money 26 times in 36 BASS events and has earned over $90,000 as a BASS professional. It's never over till it's over. And at this point, there are two anglers who stand between Denny Brower and this championship. Guy Aker and Jimmy Houston. Brower must have fish.
And Denny's coming to scale right now. He has 4 bass. Denny Brower is sweating bullets. And I know how he feels with 4 bass. He's in a crutch. He has a number of fellows pushing him. 9 pounds and 9 ounces for Denny Brower.
It's one of them days, Ray. I fished, I think, as good as I've ever fished today. I had 4 bites and caught all 4 fish, and I thought I utilized my cover about as well as I could. The fish yesterday stopped biting at 11 o'clock, and it was the same story today. The last bite I had was at 11 o'clock, and I caught 3 of my fish while the camera crew was there, and when they left, I never had another bite, so I kind of wish they'd have stuck around. But
the Bassmaster camera crew didn't bother you, did they?
No, those guys are real professionals, and they didn't bother me a bit. They know where to keep the boat and how to run the cameras, and they'll do anything they can to help you catch fish.
Well, let's do that. You have one fish in it that could be the difference in winning this tournament or not. That's 1 large bass. Would you pull that bass out, and let's take a good picture of that. Here's the one fish, folks, that may be the difference. And we'll weigh this bass by Denny Brower, and I think the fish will go, what do you think, 4 pounds, 3 ounces, more or less?
That's about it, Ray.
All right, let's put a basket on that if we may. I'm interested in knowing the weight of this bass. This could be a very, very critical bass. And the weight, 4 pounds, 10 ounces for the largest bass. Listen, you got to sweat some, friend. You've got some dynamite fishermen right behind you.
I sure do. You know, there's a bunch of good fishermen here. Guy Aker, he's real close. That's going to make him have to work a little bit, but if he pops another good stringer, he'll be all over. So it's going to, you're right, I've got to sweat a while.
All right, we wish you well. Let's give a nice hand, folks. Denny Brower of Missouri.
Guy Aker, in second place starting today, comes to the weigh-in scales.
Guy Aker, folks, the scoreboard says is in second place with 29 pounds. Just barely 6 pounds behind the leader, Denny Brower. Weight today, 6 pounds and 5 ounces.
I knew it before I left that cold weather was going to kill me because I was fishing real shallow water, and I knew they wasn't going to help me when I went up there. I had a fish look like a weight 8 or 10 pounds. You can ask my partner to come up and bump a spinnerbait and turn right around and go back. I said, that was a $17,000 fish right there.
The last day crowd here on the banks of Sam Rayburn Reservoir await Jimmy Houston's arrival. But Houston, who needs 18 pounds, 11 ounces to pass Brower, comes up short. Denny Brower has just won his second Bassmaster Texas Invitational title.
Well, folks, it's time now to welcome and salute the man who we've just found out from the scoring table has won this tournament, Denny Brower of Missouri. Let's give him a nice welcome. Denny Brower. Denny, there's about 5,000 Bassmasters out there that congratulate you, and I want to congratulate you for a great job. Listen, you did something very unique. You went to an area that there's something different about, and I want you to tell us briefly what happened.
Well, 2 years ago when I won the tournament here, I won it in Harvey's Creek, and, you know, just about everybody else knew that, and there was a lot of pressure in there in practice, and there were still some fish in there, but I figured they'd get spread out amongst the fishermen, so I wanted to find an area that I could more or less have to myself, and I went way up one of the rivers, and this year we had a tournament a little later, and the water was a little warmer and a little clearer up there, and the fish were a little more active, and I found an area that was definitely remote. I never saw a tournament boat for all 3 days until today. Of one boat pulled into one cove, I had some fish, and of all people, it was Forrest Wood. And he was kind enough to pull right back out. It was just a terrific area up there. The fish were on the edge of a break line, and like I say, I think the lack of pressure really helped me catch them.
Well, tell us what lure you were using, would you?
I was using a black 5/8 Elron jig with Uncle Josh on a #1 pork rod behind it, and on 25-pound thread line, just pitching it back in the buck brushes, and then just sitting there shaking it in one place. The fish were real inactive. They were tough to get the bite, and the type of cover they were in, they were real hard to get back out. You had to be a little patient, but yet you still had to cover a lot of water because they weren't real concentrated.
Your weight was 44 pounds and 10 ounces, and this is the second time in 2 years you won this tournament. You must have some special magic in Texas.
Well, I like to fish heavy cover, buckbrush and willows, and I like the flipping technique. And this here lake, this time of the year, the fish are up in that type of cover. And you know they're in there if you can just find that one cove that's got some good quality fish. And that was the key this time. The first day I had one cove that had a bunch of good fish and was fortunate enough to get most of them in the boat.
Folks, that's the story. Let's give a nice hand. Danny Brower of Missouri won the tournament again.
Time now for Scholl's Pros Pointers, the how-to section of the Bassmasters.
You know, a crankbait is probably one of the most versatile baits there is when you're searching for bass. You can take this bait, throw it up near the bank, and fish it from the surface to 12 or possibly even 14 feet deep, checking the bottom out all the way back to the boat. You know, I've used crankbaits in a lot of tournaments, and I've won a lot of tournaments with them, and I really believe that they catch a lot more fish than several other baits. Crankbaits normally run about 10 feet deep, but I use a method called kneel and reel, which is basically using a long rod and a deep diving crankbait and making an extra long cast, possibly even 40 or 50 yards. And what I do is take and stick my rod down in the water practically to the reel, and I start bringing that bait back. And what it'll do is add about 3 foot of depth to your bait, and a lot of times that makes a difference in whether you're going to catch a fish or not catch a fish. What I like to do is get that bait down in the structure and stop it whenever it hits anything and work it like that all the way back to the boat. I'm covering a lot of territory, and a lot of times I can catch a lot more fish by using this method. It's called kneel and reel, and it works great.
April is history. For Danny Brower, it won't soon be forgotten. He made his mark in professional fishing here by twice winning the Texas Bassmasters tournament. This was truly a great performance, a winning effort against the weather and the best darn bass anglers in America. And speaking of winning, don't forget to stop by your tackle shop or your local Ranger dealer and enter the Go Fishing America's Sweepstakes. There's $50,000.
About 1,000 people at Super B.A.S.S, and I just won the tournament.
For the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, and we'd like to welcome you to the second season of the Bassmasters. It's a unique television series where we bring you exciting bass tournament action recorded as it happens and the way it happens. We'll also visit the top bass in lakes across the country and talk with bass pros and expert anglers about how to catch America's top game fish, the bass. We'll bring you tips and techniques from across the country that we hope will do just one thing, and that's to make your catching better. Today, we're here on the famous St. Johns River in Florida for Super B.A.S.S 4. That's the $400,000 tournament where the winner takes home $105,000 in cash for just 4 days' work and makes angling history in the process. So stay on board. The Bassmasters will be right back from Palatka, Florida.
And for the winner, $105,000 in earnings for 4 days' work. It's the largest individual purse in the history of Cast for Cash contests. Bass angling is a sport that's come a long way in its brief 18-year history. 18 years ago, when the total purse in the first Bass Angler Sportsman Society tournament was only $5,000 for the top 10 places, and the winner walked away with a whopping $2,000.
That's what I want.
In Super B.A.S.S 4, 60 anglers will be sharing the $404,500 purse, and the last man, the 60th place bass angler, will take home $2,000. Bass angling today is more than just a sport shared by millions of fishermen. It's a profession. And Super Bass is the kind of tournament, the type of professional competition that can change a basser's life. Like Oklahoma fishery biologist Ken Cook, whose $100,000 win in Super Bass 1 allowed him to quit his biologist job and devote full time to his first love, professional bass angling. And Georgia angler Mickey Bruce, whose win in Super Bass 2 let him go full-time on the Bass Angler Sportsman Society's tournament trail. Defending Super Bass 3 champion, Florida's Doug Gilley, also is $100,000 richer and now better known. His win here in the last Super Bass vaulted him into a position where he too could better tackle the tournament trail. Gilley goes into this tournament the favorite, not only because he's the defending champion, but even more because these are his home waters, and he has an in-depth knowledge of the river and nearby Rodman Pool. But there are many others here who have proven they have the right stuff to pocket $105,000. The daily limit here is 7 bass that must measure at least 12 inches long. The total pounds and ounces recorded over the 4-day competition period will decide the winner. Many here feel that it will take close to 70 pounds to win this event. The reason is that even though it's early April and many of the bass have spawned, there are still a lot of larger females on the nests, and these heavier Florida bass can bend the scales. As predicted, Doug Gilley takes the lead this first day. He weighs 7 bass for 19 pounds 6 ounces. Even though Super Bass 1 winner Ken Cook doesn't fare well today, he knows from past experience that it's never over till it's over.
That's more than I had first day last time I won, so, you know, I guess maybe I'm ahead so far. Depends on how far I am behind, I guess, more than anything else.
You mean, I didn't remember, but you had the first day of that tournament you won, less weight than you had today?
I had 3 pounds and 2 ounces.
And won the tournament?
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe that's a pattern.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till it's over, you're right.
Day 2. The majority of these bass anglers are fishing upriver. That's south here on the St. Johns, which flows some 300 miles north before it dumps into the Atlantic Ocean at Jacksonville. The reason many anglers opt to fish areas upriver is because of the tidal influence, or lack of it. The closer to the Atlantic, the stronger the tides are, and the rising and falling water as a result of this tidal influence can greatly affect the bass. One area which is not affected by the St. Johns tides is Rodman Pool, an impoundment created in the 60s when the Ocklawaha River was dammed and the ill-fated Cross-Florida Barge Canal was dug. The canal joining Rodman and the St. Johns has never been used for commercial barge traffic, only for sport fishing. Rodman has a reputation for monster bass. It's where the largest ever B.A.S.S. tournament fish was caught. That bass weighed 12 pounds, 13 ounces. Rodman is also where the heaviest one-day stringer in B.A.S.S. competition was caught, 60 pounds. Even though Rodman is a popular area, it's difficult to fish when the weather is sunny because of the super clear water. Former Bassmasters Classic champion Larry Nixon of Texas is fishing hydrilla patches along a drop-off far from shore in Rodman, and he's in this specific area for a reason.
A lot of times after the female fish spawn, and the bucks too, instead of staying back in the real heavy cover where they've been getting a lot of pressure for the last 2 or 3 months, they'll move out into open water and more or less suspend off the edge of drop-offs or hold on the edge of the hydrilla beds. And you have to work real slow to catch these fish because they're not feeling very good, they're not feeding good, and you just have to fish real slow with a plastic worm and let them look at it before you can get them to take it.
First day leader Doug Gilley slips to 13th as Palatka angler Jeff Van Horn weighs in 17 pounds to go ahead by 1 pound 6 ounces and take the second day lead. In BASS competition, there are no age barriers, and physical limitations are more noticed by spectators than those with an altered lifestyle, like bass angler Mark Overstreet, a Florida rancher and regular competitor in BASS tournaments. The only real difference here is that Mark comes through the weigh-in line in a wheelchair. Cherry's occupied during bass tournaments and deer and turkey hunts for more than 15 years following a gun accident. The Florida angler refuses to allow his impairment to halt his outdoor activities.
I enjoy fishing. You know, a lot of people say, well, how do you do all that kind of stuff? You know, well, you can't do it if you don't try. You know, so I've done it a long time. Back when I first got hurt, you know, you didn't see any handicap parking and ramps and all that kind of stuff. You know, if you went somewhere, it was really a mess. You know, I mean, you didn't have things set up. But it's really nice that the country and the people that are considerate to people in wheelchairs. You know, because they got to live too. We're not going to just lay in bed and, you know, give up. You know, you should. Some of them do, but you shouldn't do that.
Stay on board. The Bassmasters will be right back from Super Bass 4 in Florida, where both the weather and the lead change.
2020.
And the 250 Super Bass pros get ready to slug it out with the bass. While the day breaks clear and calm, a weather front is on the way. Forecasters are promising wind later today. And for Saturday, the final day, thunderstorms and rain. A south wind will change the fishing here because it will delay the incoming tides, holding them out longer. When the tide is out and the water low, bass that are not on spawning beds will often congregate on the weed lines near areas too shallow for them to enter until the tide brings the water up. Once the tide is in, however, the bass retreat deeper into the weeds and spread out with the rising water, making them more difficult to catch. Day 3's competition is over, and as the 250 anglers go through the weigh-in procedure, second day leader Jeff Van Horn of Palatka explains to BASS President Ray Scott why he faltered this third day.
I think being in first place yesterday hurt me more than anything.
You really mean that?
I'm serious. I'm probably a little nervous, and I'll admit it. I fished with George Cochran today. I think he had the biggest fish on he ever had in his life and lost it. He should have had 20 or 25 pounds, and he couldn't get them either, and I couldn't get them in the boat. And he got 5 fish in the boat, and I got 2, so that's the way it was.
Well, now, this business of leading the tournament, how much pressure is that? When did it start affecting you?
I think I weighed in yesterday at 4:30 and about 4:31.
You mean the pressure is that bad? Did you sleep good last night?
Yeah, I slept real good from about 11 to 12:30. Then I woke up, and I figured I might as well get dressed and get ready to go fishing.
And you did get up then?
Well, I slept about another 15 minutes, then I got up.
Well, now, tonight, you should have all the pressure off, because I feel you slid from first to maybe down in the 6th, 7th, 8th place.
I get them tomorrow.
Hank Parker, in 10th place starting today, comes to the scales.
Watch the scales, folks. Hank Parker. 24 pounds, 9 ounces. Hank, what in the world? Let's look at anything over 5 pounds. Give me the 2 biggest, hold them up. That is absolutely beautiful, limit of 7 bass. They're all big bass.
I tell you, I lost one right before I came in, about 4 pounds that would have helped me. But I got the coil 5 today. I had a really good day. I just hope I can get them to hit again tomorrow.
The North Carolina angler explains how the wind is helping him and what he's doing to catch his fish.
You know, the first day of the tournament I fished, and I had some wind. I was fortunate enough to catch a limit of fish, and I left after I caught the limit of fish. And then yesterday I went back to the same area, and I fished it with a worm, and I couldn't catch them as good. I tried a spinnerbait for a while, and I caught them early with spinnerbait, but then we didn't have any wind, and I couldn't fish the bait like I needed to fish the bait to get the fish to hit it. You've got to be able to throw it up in the grass. When the wind is moving the grass, you can put the spinnerbait in the grass and pull it out. But when the wind is not moving it, it's kind of lapped over, and you can't make a presentation. You have to throw to the outside of the grass, and the fish won't hit it. So what you have to do really is just kind of feed it to the fish, put it up on the grass, and wind it real easy. And as the wave action makes the grass move, then you can sneak that bait through there, and that's when you get the fish. Just as soon as you get on the outside, you just kind of let it flutter, and it'll hit it. But if you don't have the wind, you can't do that. Today, the wind was ideal. We had a south or southwestern wind, and it kept that grass moving good. Plus, it held the tide out for a little bit longer. And I think when the tide's out, it's a more of an advantage to me that the fish can't go as deep back into the weeds. They're on the outside. I know where they're at. So I feel like if I can get this same wind tomorrow, I can catch them. But the drawback will be if it's pretty and sunny like it is today, I think I'll have a lot of local pressure on my fish. It's a poplar area. But again, if it's cloudy and I don't get the wind, then maybe I can go in there and get them with a different bait, something that I can fish over that grass and get the fish to come up and get it. So there's a lot of options, and we'll just see what happens.
Well, the weatherman was right. As the final day of Super Bass 4 begins, dark clouds roll in and thunderstorms dance across the skies. And just as Hank Parker wanted, the south wind is strong and holds back the tides. The 32-year-old bass angler is fishing some 50 miles north of Palatka in Coulee Bay. The area is saucer-shaped, and its edge is ringed with piers, boathouses, creeks, canals, and eelgrass. The vegetation extends 30 to 50 yards out from the bank. The edge of the grass is about 2.5 feet deep, except in 3 places where it's approximately 4 feet deep. Parker works the outside edge of the grass line, keeping his boat about 25 to 30 feet from the edge of the grass in 4 to 5 feet of water. Parker has been in a position to win 2 previous Florida B.A.S.S. tournaments, but lost both the final day. His boat partner today is Wayne Black of Palatka. This is ironic because in the most recent St. John's Invitational, Parker was leading the tournament when Black charged from 138th place to beat him by 1 pound 6 ounces. Black was then beaten the last minute by 1 ounce by Kim Carver. Hank Parker finished third. Parker is catching his fish on a half-ounce spinnerbait with a number 3 Indiana blade and a number 6 willow leaf blade. He's casting the bait 10 to 15 feet inside the grass and retrieving it about 4 inches deep till it breaks out of the grass. He then slows his retrieve so the lure flutters down to a depth of about 12 to 18 inches where he reels it for the rest of the retrieve. And it's paying off. Stay on board. The Bassmasters' exciting conclusion of Super Bass 4 is coming up. Bag of bass and makes his charge.
15 ounce.
And Gary Klein's weight yesterday was how much, Bob? 33 pounds. What does he have to pull ahead of Guido Hibner? Quickly calculate it before you put him on the scale. Now, folks, we're talking about big money here. We're talking about winning and being in second, which is like, $40,000 or more. Calculate it quickly because he's about to have a heart attack. I can feel his pulse and heart beating through his shoulder.
Ray, I don't really care. Well, I do care if I win the tournament or not, but there's a lot of other good anglers out there. I don't think I'm going to win it, but I feel good just to be here, and at least I might make the top 10.
I hope that does your blood pressure good, but you're lying through your teeth. That sounds like some testimony of some losing politician. How much? He needs about 15 pounds to take the lead from Guido Hibner. Watch the scales. There he is. He's taking over the lead from Guido Hibner. Now, how do you feel?
Well, I feel pretty good right now, Ray, but I don't think I'm going to be up here too much longer.
That's what you've said. Every time you've ever taken our money home, you've always given us this full mouth. You sound like Bear Brown talking.
There's only one angler left who can win it.
Now, we have one more man that's got a chance to beat Gary Klein of California, and that's Hank Parker, who was our leader yesterday. And, folks, let's watch the scales. By the way, Hank Parker, ladies and gentlemen, listen very carefully to me. Hank Parker is the only man in history to be Angler of the Year, which is a leading angler for the whole world, to win the Bassmasters Classic. And if he can win Super Bass, we consider that the Grand Slam of angling. And that's three real big wins in a row. And, folks, this is it. Now, what he's got to have to win is how much, Bob? How much has he got to have, Bob Cobb, to take this thing? He needs 2 pounds. I think we may have it. Because I'll bet you 100 to 1 you got it.
Well, I had Wayne Black with me today, but if Kim Carver weighed in, is that official? I mean, he's not behind me.
Let's don't worry about Kim. That's where your fish are. They're sitting here at the waterfall. Watch the scales, folks. The Grand Slam of angling is here. Biggest fish of the day, great D1 time. Two biggest fish here. Let's bring you two big bass. Folks, I want you to look at these beautiful fish. Oh, he caught the largest catch yesterday, was 24 pounds yesterday, and today was 21 pounds. I don't know in how many years it's been that we've had that 40-odd pound catch in 2 days. Now, these are just two of the fish, folks. He's got 6 more just about the same. Hank Parker has won this tournament, going away. Now, they can deserve this. All stand up and stretch and give him a good hand. Hello, folks. Grand Slam landing, Hank Parker.
It was a great day. I really enjoyed it. You know, when you set a goal for yourself, it's really a thrill to meet that goal. And just like you said, the Grand Slam, my wife, when I won the Bassmasters Classic back in '79 and '83, I came up in one Angler of the Year. I was the only angler to ever do that. And then here comes Larry Nixon about a month later. So I didn't get to keep that very long, and I was kind of down and out. My wife said, well, what you're going to have to do now is get a Grand Slam and go down there and win Super B.A.S.S. So I really wanted to do it. It's really a thrill.
Folks, let's give him a good hand. That's a great, what's happening here?
Hello. I don't know how I'm talking on this telephone, Angie, but this is your husband. If you remember what I look like, I hadn't been home in so long. But I'm standing on the stage here looking out at about 1,000 people at Super B.A.S.S, and I just won the tournament. 20 pounds and a few ounces. I don't even remember.
Money to spend.
Well, I love you, babe. I hadn't been home in Easter in 3 years, but I'm going to drive home, and I'll see you, and we'll be in church in the morning.
Okay, I love you. Drive safe. See you in the morning.
Thank you. Good night, and I'll see you in the morning.
Bye-bye.
Ain't that wonderful? See you in church tomorrow. Hank Parker, all the best to you, mate. Some of you folks want to talk.
Time now for the Pros Pointers.